All right, Dalan. So my question is, would you prefer a girl that is super affectionate, talks super cute, sends a lot of emojis like good night with a bunch of hearts and like a bunch of smiley faces, like angel eyes and all that shit?
Like,
Or would you prefer a girl who is just like good night, nothing else, super kind of cold when she talks to you, doesn't really know how to text, but is always not really that available and is a little bit hard to get? Which one would you prefer? So one is really available and affectionate. One is not available that much,
Yeah.
but not that affectionate as well.
I would lean towards the one that's more affectionate, but like there's also like a limit to that, because I don't like it where they're too affectionate, where it's like what do you call those girls, like those anime cosplay girls that like online they're like like what do you call that stuff? Like when they're like that, I'm just like, oh no, that's like Japanese hentai porn or some shit. Like at that point I'm just like, what the fuck is this? No, like, that's too extreme. Like I want that, but like 10 notches down, you know, like 10 notches down, like, you know, just like normal person, you know, type of thing, you know.
I get what you say. All right, so you want something that's like kind of balanced, right?
Yeah,
you want something where she's like affectionate, but at the same time not always like super crazy, like ooh woo type of shit, right?
Yes, that's the ooh woo type shit. Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, how about you?
Right, okay. I'll get to that in a bit, but okay, what about the cold, like kind of hard to get? Because I know some guys like hard to get girls, right? But what if she's
for
like
the
just
chase? Like when you're chasing
for
them?
the chase, yeah. But like, okay, let's just say not when you're chasing them. Let's just say like when you guys are actually kind of dating, like for the long term. Long term, she's just kind of cold and just like empty good night, and then no emojis, and doesn't text you like sweet things like, hey, I hope you had a good day. I know you had a long day last night. Blah 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 blah. And sends you like these sweet paragraphs once in a while.
Once in a while.
Yeah, once in a while. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say like every day those long paragraphs is like too much, right? Probably.
Yeah, a little bit too much maybe.
Okay. The reason I asked this though is because lately I was telling one of my close homegirls that I was talking to one girl who's super affectionate and then one girl who's not that affectionate and just texts me good night. Just that's it. And then the other one is like good night with hella emojis and like, oh, hope you have a great sleep. I hope you think of me when you sleep, blah, 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 all that shit. So she was like, well, wouldn't guys like the one that's like a little bit more cold and not really like emotionally there? Like guys like the chase, no? And I was like, you know what? That's a good question, because actually guys like affectionate girls. Like we don't really like the ones that are like cold, right? There are some guys though, I will say, they like the chase, but those guys are like cuckoo in the head, I feel like. It's not like all guys. I feel like majority of guys actually like girls who are pretty fucking affectionate.
Yeah.
And if they're not affectionate, then they're just like not really feminine to us.
I mean, for me, like I think the cold girls, right? Like
Yeah,
the
go
cold girls, I think they kind of give me a reality check at times too. Cause like, you know, like not all like girls are like affectionate, and like there's all like, you know, there's like cold people in this world. Like it kind of gives you a reality check where you're just like, oh, you know, like there's not everything's a happy ending, you know.
Okay.
Like when I come across like these cold women, but like yeah.
Okay, wait. I don't know how that plays into like the preference though. It's just
yeah.
like a reality check that like you know what you want more or what?
Yeah, for me, like sometimes like I would prefer a colder woman because they give me reality checks when you come home to a colder woman compared to like a woman that's too affectionate. You kind of think you're in La La Land all day. You know what I mean?
I feel you. And it's a little bit.
It's like, oh, like Tiger Mom, she comes home. Oh, you still have to do this, do that, or like compared to come home, let's chill, Netflix chill. You know, let's do that type of vibe. You know, there's like, you know, that's what I'm trying to get at.
So, do you think that you get kind of bored with like super affectionate girls then?
I feel like you lose ambition as a man. Like, you know, when you get too comfortable with like a girl that's too affectionate, you get too comfortable, complacent and stuff, you know? You're like, but if you have a cold woman, sometimes, you're like, oh shit. you know, goddamn, you know, like, you know, I gotta get my shit together, you know, that type of shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just assume that one is like not super affectionate.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just leave that outlier out. Okay,
Okay.
let's just assume that one is affectionate, like the good amount of affection.
Okay.
What I just talked about, probably sends you like a paragraph like once a week, and goes like, "I hope you have a great day. I know you had a long day, blah blah blah." Right, and then the other one is just like cold, just good night every day. It's just like a good night
With no emojis.
with
right?
no emojis,
Yeah.
nothing like paragraph or anything like that. So, assuming that, like, which one would you prefer?
The one with emojis, the more affectionate one, because it's kind of off-putting to me if a girl sends like text with no emojis with just like words. You know, it's kind of like I'm just like, oh, there's something a little off-putting about this.
It's
you know?
lacking, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, dude, and that's why a lot of guys, they go out to go cheat, or even women, because they just get bored of like their boyfriend or girlfriend, because it's just like just standard stoic shit, you know, and they're like, I need to find something spicy outside. And then for guys, it's like, oh, I gotta go find like a prostitute outside. I'm not saying like I condone that. Obviously, I'm just trying to analyze the situation for how you or me or just the viewers can be successful with their marriage and just any of their relationships, right? So if you have such a boring ass relationship like that, you're just gonna be like, fuck this, I'm gonna go find something else, right? So anyways, I was talking to this homegirl about this, and then she was like surprised. She was like, really? I thought guys like the chase, and like guys like girls who are not giving that much attention, because it's kind of like a mental warfare where it makes the guy feel like, I can't have this woman. I get that, but there's limits to it, you know? There's limits where it's like, if she's like way too cold and not showing any affection at all, then dude, that's just abuse, I feel like.
No, yeah. Sometimes like I correlate that with like motherhood or motherly like instinct. Like if she has that motherly instinct, or is she able to be a mother? You know.
Yeah.
Like if she's like that cold, I'm just like, I wonder how she'll treat my kids.
Oh,
or her
dude,
kids, you know?
I always think about that.
I'm
too.
just like, oh shoot, you know, if that's like how she's saying and talking, I'm like, imagine if we had kids.
Yeah. So I think a very important point here is the emotional availability. It's not really necessarily for me, right? I feel like as a woman, the point that you need to look at is not about like, do I need to be affectionate or not affectionate? Of course you have to be affectionate, right? Yeah. I feel like the point that you should be looking at is if you're always emotionally available. If you're always available for that guy, then he's going to just treat you as a disposable product, right? He's just like, oh, she's always here, so it's easy to have. Even for girls too.
Oh, right? Yeah, like Dilly.
Like Dilly. All right, yeah, the simp brainwashing, check that video out. But anyways, I think even for girls too, like if there's a guy who's always available for you, he just will not have that much value, right? It's just the laws of nature. I feel like it's just human nature. We have something that we can easily obtain. We don't value it as much.
We take it for advantage.
We take it for granted. Yeah, exactly. So the question is not about like, oh, should I be affectionate or not affectionate? You should always be affectionate, but should you always be available? Like where you're just always giving so much time, like every single hour. I feel like that for men, it puts a lot of pressure, especially if we're busy and you got to call us every day, every single hour. I think calling every day is fine. Once a day, probably like a couple hours or so. But if you're calling every single hour, dude, that is like, dude, people got shit to do. It's also like 2024. We got like hella social media to like manage. Like we gotta look at Instagram, Facebook, and then look at work stuff, dude. We don't really all got time to like just spend so much. And I feel like girls experience this too with guys, like where a guy is calling her all the fucking time because this guy's a bum. He just doesn't have that much shit to do.
But then the funny thing is they complain when you're like, you know, when you're like when you got all this shit to do and you're not available, like you're not spending time with me, you know?
I totally understand that though. Yeah. I feel like I always think about it like if I were a girl, right? Like how would I want my man, right? If he's just like always busy, that's a deduction in points. If he's always free, it's also a deduction in points. It's just like everything needs a balance. You can't have too much of anything. So I totally understand that.
But which one would you rather choose? Like a man that you would wake up to that like every single day has nothing to do, or a man that you wake up to that's not in the house all day that has something to do?
That's a good question. I think we should talk about that in our next video right after this one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk about that one.
But yeah, I would want to talk about that, like where it's like, oh, like if we were girls, what would we prefer?
Yeah.
That would be funny.
That would
Yeah,
be funny.
that I would feel a little bit gay with that. But I mean, I'm totally fine. I like to imagine all sorts of crap. But you know, there's some comments that we got in like a couple episodes ago. It was about like, it was the one about exposing the biggest reason why Asian women don't like, or Asian men are not that attractive. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like why like no other race goes for Asian men. And then I think in that episode I was saying like, oh, not that I'm gay or anything. And then I was like kind of capitalizing on it. I was making a joke. And then some comments were like, oh, that guy was so awkward. Like he was like denying it so hard. What if he's actually gay? Like, and then they were actually questioning my sexuality. I was like,
Oh shit.
dude, I was just purposely being awkward.
Yeah.
You know, just
I was acting.
I was just acting.
Yeah.
Because you know, like sometimes when you just act awkward, like, oh, I mean,
Yeah. You know. Yeah.
you know, you just on purpose. You know, just like funny.
Pull around. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they were like commenting like, dude, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gay. Yeah, for sure, I'm gay. I mean, if I'm actually straight, I could joke around about being gay all I want, right?
Yeah.
That's proof I'm not fucking gay, but I don't have to prove shit, bro. Shit, dude.
God damn.
But anyways, dude, I feel like with this, I think girls are really scared to give that affection to guys because they probably been hurt one time in their life where she gave so much affection, so much time to this guy. She was always emotionally available that she was like, you know what? I'm not going to do any of these. I'm not going to give affection. I'm not going to give time. I'm not going to give anything to the next guy. I'm going to lower it all. And then when that happens, you actually
You're
start
digging yourself
to,
a deeper hole, or like.
correct. Like
yeah.
you're actually losing that ability to connect with someone on a deeper level where you're able to really be vulnerable to that guy. And if you have like this wall all the time that's up and erect, you're just like, it's hard to like just break it down and really connect with that person.
So even though like when you're thinking you're protecting yourself, you're actually harming yourself by like not, you know.
Exactly. And I feel like that's another reason why modern dating is failing, because everyone is just so scared of guerrilla tactics. They're like, oh shit, this person out to get me.
Or like,
and you heard that word where it's like someone that you could love the most could become the one that you hate the most, or it could become your biggest enemy. Right?
Or it was also flipped around. Like some people say like the person you hate is actually the person you love.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So it's actually crazy how that works, huh?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that is because of this that so many people, guys and girls, are having trouble connecting because they're all scared. Everyone's just scared to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's why on dating apps, right? What's the average time that people reply you? You don't have to be courteous and be like, oh yeah, like they reply me quick. I'm fucking alpha male, bro.
No, like
you be straight up.
No, like usually like a couple hours, a couple days.
Hours,
a couple days.
Dude, a couple days, right?
Yeah.
And then for me, on average, it's like a day or two or whatever, right? Even for me, I reply in a day.
Honestly, after I get that message back a couple days, I don't even feel like continuing it anymore. I'm just like, you lagged for so long. Like, goddamn, like I'm not interested anymore. I got all these other ones to keep up with.
I mean, I would still keep up, but it's just because like I would reply later because I feel like that's like the norm now because everyone's just so busy. But not even just like busy, they're just scared to be vulnerable. And because they're scared to be vulnerable, that's why they're like, oh, I'm gonna reply when I'm like at my best, like best in my mental state to reply. So when they actually finally reply, it's like days later. But that way you can't connect with anyone like that. Because remember back in the day, like before these dating apps started, we would have Facebook Messenger. Before that was like AOL Instant Messenger. Yeah. Did you use that, by the way? You're like
AIM.
AIM, yeah. Because you're like borderline Gen Z, so I don't know.
That was like the beginning, like LimeWire, LemonWire, and then like
LimeWire was like a downloading service.
Yeah, and then like that was around the same time as AIM.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Okay,
that's when I like
the apps that were being used. Okay, yeah. So AOL, like everyone would like be messaging quick. Everyone would just be like, sometimes I'd be waiting at my computer and just be like waiting for people to talk to me.
And then I think back then, like for me, like it was spamming. Like we were just
Oh,
spamming.
yeah,
It was like
yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah,
just like one
dude.
message, two messages. It was like spamming all the way.
Yeah, dude, those were the days, man.
Yeah.
Those were the days like you could actually connect with someone and like fall in love within a night, bro, of just talking to them, right?
Dude, that's a really good point you're bringing up. Now that I'm like going back at it, like thinking
Yeah.
back to the days, like yeah, I don't feel like we connect on that level anymore.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
And everyone's all talking about like this modern dating is failing because like dating apps and all this bullshit. I feel like it's because people have so many apps to track that they don't even have time to like respond quickly anymore.
Yeah.
There's way too much shit to do.
I think this is like one thing too. Like when you have so many like eggs in all these different baskets, like
Yeah.
it's hard to keep up. And like, how do you like give someone like like, how do you know someone without giving them like your all, or your full? It's like you're giving them
Yeah.
like 20%, 20%, 20%, like
And
splitting
that's the
it everywhere.
point I want to bring back is because like if you're always not vulnerable and you're scared because you had a past experience and you don't want to be affectionate to this guy or to this girl, just because we're all about equality here. If that's the case, then you're never going to be in that very compatible state or that vulnerable state with that person and have a deep connection. So I think it's very important.
Yeah, you won't even feel love at this point. Like if you're just trying to protect yourself this whole time from getting hurt or heartbroken, like you're not even gonna feel what it feels like to be in love in the first place if you're just protecting yourself this whole time.
Fucking straight facts, man.
Right?
Straight
So it's
facts. So I think honestly like that people gotta be a little bit more vulnerable, but obviously don't be vulnerable to like the wrong people. Just don't just all of a sudden straight off the bat just start being vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
Because you just gotta be strategic, but you can't be like, oh, I'm gonna put up this fucking big ass wall like the Great Wall of China and never knock it down. Slap his ass. Yeah, dude. I just feel like dating 10 years ago compared to now, right? Everyone has this wall up, not just girls, but it's also guys.
Yeah.
And that's why people are having trouble connecting, man. And I want to make this very clear to girls out there too, that guys love it when you're affectionate. And we feel like it's a little bit lacking now. Like we don't really see a lot of girls that are that affectionate. And then some girls might fight back and be like, well, have you ever considered why? It's because there's too many fuckboys on this earth. And I'm like, well, have you ever considered that you're probably only chasing the fucking fuckboys?
Yeah, like
why don't you get at the guys who are like video gamers and like commenting hella on your posts and being like, you're pretty? You could get at those guys. Those guys are not fuckboys.
Yeah,
and
they're not gonna treat you wrong.
Yeah, no, for real. Like we gotta give some of the ugly, like simp and video game nerds out there a chance. Honestly, you guys could keep saying like, yeah, there's a lot of fuckboys, but actually look at the sexual frequency.
Or like
there's a statistic where it shows that men, the sexual frequency, how much they have sex in a year, it's declining a lot. And then actually it's gone to a point where like women on average are having more sex in a year than men. There's even some dudes like in their early 20s or late 20s, they don't even have sex for like a year. And so that just kind of shows that there's a lot of non-fuckboys out there if they're not having sex, right?
Because everyone's choosing the top 10%.
Exactly.
Everyone's choosing. They didn't want the rest of the 90%.
Exactly, bro.
and like girls that are like, honestly, like if you're not a 10 and you think you're gonna get the 10%, like do the numbers. Like I don't think it's gonna add up.
It's hard. I mean, those top 10% dudes are probably like already chasing a lot of other girls.
Yeah, they probably have a full roster too.
Yeah, I mean they're the fuckboys.
Yeah.
So you can't really like just keep going after those guys and just keep blaming like all men and going like, yeah, all men are fuckboys. That's why we can't give affection to them. Well, it's because the men you're choosing will not appreciate you. Go choose like a guy who's more balanced. I'm not saying like you have to choose a guy who's like ugly as shit, but you could choose a guy who's more balanced, and then,
Yeah.
that way you could give him affection, and then you guys will actually prosper in a relationship. But if you're going for like a top 10% dude who has like hella options and is like really good looking, has really good qualities that like a lot of girls have, except for his loyalty, then you're just gonna get played.
Yeah. Just be open to new types.
Yeah.
Like all the different types out there.
Yep. So I mean, to wrap this up, man, I think that women, it's very surprising, man, like that how my friend or just women in general, they think that, oh, I need to be not affectionate to attract the guy.
It's gotten that bad now that like in this generation that women think this, that like, oh, to get a guy we have to be non-affectionate.
Yeah, and you're
It's
actually
kind of-
for a constant loophole of, or like a whirlpool of just negativity, because you're just gonna be unaffectionate to this guy. You're just gonna keep going like that, and then you probably lure that guy in for a little bit, because guys do like the chase at first, but then to fully prosper and perpetuate into a deeper relationship, you have to be affectionate. You have to slowly build, knock down your walls instead of build up the walls. So if you're not slowly knocking down like levels of your wall, you're never going to be affectionate. And if you're never affectionate, the guy's going to be like, yo, fuck this. Like, I'm fucking bored.
All right,
I'm going to find another.
I got a
And
question for you.
same thing applies for women too. Yeah.
So I have a question for you, Panda. So like, for instance, like in this situation where like both of you guys have your walls up, would you say it's more of a girl's duty or a guy's duty to start bringing that wall down?
I feel like it's both their duties, man. I mean, we live in a society where it's like, we look at it where like it's like the guy's responsibility. Hey, I got to open this door for her. Hey, I got to pay for her. He has to show me that he cares about me. He likes me. He's got to show me how serious he is, right? But we don't really look at, is this girl going to show us how serious she is, right? So that's why, I mean, I usually pay, right? I usually pay on dates. But when I see a girl that's like, oh, no, let me pay. I'm like, you know, this girl cares. And I end up wanting to pay even more for her. I want to pay for the next fucking 10 meals for her. I want to pay for like almost everything for her. Because that shows a level of appreciation.
Yes.
You know? And then if she has that level of
really
appreciation, then it shows to me that it's not just one-sided. If it's just one-sided, it's like I'm easily going to get played. So, I mean, I know a lot of girls' rebuttals is like, well, but like I let guys pay because in the past there's a guy that got mad because I tried to pay and he just got mad about it. Dude, just think about like, is that guy secure? You know, don't be going for like these.
Secure?
Don't go for those like insecure dudes. You know, I feel like guys who just get mad about that.
Who are these insecure guys, Panda? Can you name out these characteristics so girls are more aware and can?
Yeah,
spot
these are the guys who are just like super traditional and they're like, I'm paying for everything. I want you to be super feminine. You just stay right there and look pretty, and you just do the housework. And you know, we think from a more modern perspective, right? Me and you. Mixed with a couple like traditional perspectives, but these are the types of dudes who are like super traditional, but it's a little bit toxic in modern society, in my opinion, right? I mean, everyone has their own preference, but I feel like if you're getting mad about this stupid shit, you're like trying to try too hard to show your masculinity. Like, hey, don't be fucking doing that. This is my job. You don't gotta be fucking tripping about that, you know? And then there's a girl, Melissa, she came on this podcast before. She talked about how a guy, like a white guy or something, got mad about her at like a Chinese restaurant because she was trying to offer a pay. And he was like making a big scene about it. And he was like kind of yelling, kind of arguing about it with her. I was like, well, that's the type of insecure dude. And you know what? Is that I find that a lot of these dudes, when I talk about this with girls, I don't go on dates with guys, right? I don't know about this shit. It's just like what I'm talking about earlier.
You went to that gay club though, right?
I
That
have
gay
to
club?
exaggerate. I mean, I'm not gay. Maybe people are going to think I'm gay again. I don't know. But anyways, I don't know about this because I don't date guys, but I just ask girls that I go on dates with, hey, how was your worst dating experience? I love to talk about weird shit. Like I go like, yeah, what's the worst date experience?
Yeah,
just
just to
weird,
see what
funny
else
shit.
out there. Yeah,
weird,
see
funny
what's out
shit.
there.
Yeah, you know, it's also from my curiosity. They always tell me the guys who like want to pay hard, those are the guys that get mad. But not only that, they don't even have a fucking stable job. Those are the guys who like expect to be traditional, but they can't even be traditional. I'm like, dude, you don't even make above 100K and you're expecting this girl to like be feminine and like do housework for you, and you can't even pay everything, but you're like you're trying to pay everything for her, but you're $0 in your savings. You're a fucking loser, dude.
That really just doesn't even make sense, or it doesn't even. I don't even know how that works out.
Yeah, those are the types of like toxic masculinity dudes. Like straight up, I do believe there are toxic masculine dudes out there, but like if you're a dude that makes like above 200K, I think honestly you could probably support that traditional lifestyle in California. Maybe not 200K, maybe like 250K. with like a family.
But that I feel like that's still gonna be a lot of like pressure on him.
It's still a lot of pressure. Yeah. I feel like modern society, like everyone's working now, so it should be a point where it's like everyone's kind of like helping each other out, not just like the guy paying for fucking everything. Yeah, you know. But like some guys will beg to differ. But I know we kind of went on a tangent, but just to wrap this up, right? I feel like women should not be scared about giving affection too much. Like there comes to a point where you have to start giving affection to be deeper in that relationship.
And guys too, right?
Yeah, and guys too, yeah. So it goes both ways. If it's always hard to give affection, then you gotta figure something out, because honestly, we're heading down a society where no one's giving affection, and it's just hard to get to know that person.
It's just becoming a cold world.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess I take back what I just said. It's not really getting hard to understand that person. It's more like everyone's just becoming cold, and everyone's becoming cold, and there's no love. And without love, you know, everyone's just gonna break up or not even get to that point of like relationship. Everyone's just gonna stay in situationship. It's just break up.
It's just gonna be chaos.
Yeah, bro.
Oh my god.
All right, man. Well, if you guys like this video, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, and then check out those other videos. There's like the one with Melissa. It was like a feminist claims, bring to the table, whatever. And then the other one was, totally forgot the other one. But if you guys remember the other one.
The Dilly one or what?
No, which one?
The Dilly one?
Oh, Dilly one. Yeah, it's brain washing. But yeah, I mean, check out those videos. Like I put the cards back in the previous times. Check those out. And if you guys want to leave a comment about like affection, like how important it is to give affection. And also, if you feel like it's becoming a cold ass world, and or like why you think modern dating is failing, like what's the biggest reason? Aside from that, we will see you guys next time on the Controvert podcast. Peace out.
Later.